Watching NewsX, my name is Vineet Malhotra. The construction of the new Parliament building is nearly complete. The new Parliament will reflect the vibrance and diversity of modern India, incorporating our cultural and regional arts and craft as well. The design of the Lok Sabha is themed on peacock and will have 888 seats, while the Rajya Sabha is based on a lotus theme and will have 384 seats. The government have mentioned that the new parliament will have extensive use of wooden structure which will be rooted in traditional motifs and elements. As per government sources, the new parliament will likely be inaugurated by next month. To talk more about this and discuss what our new parliament building is going to look like and what it looks like and what it signifies, joining us is a panel of movers and shakers from across the country. Mohammad Ali Shah, Major Mohammad Ali Shah, Empire Media panelist, joins us on the show. Jyoti Kalra, artist, is also speaking to us on the program. Mr. Sunil Diore, sculptor who designed the Ashoka Lion of the Parliament, is also joining us on the broadcast. Thank you everyone for being a part of this conversation. In fact, Mr. Diore, if I can begin with you, sir, and if you can hear me. Mr. Diore, if you can hear me, sir. Okay, Mr. Diore will be joining us momentarily. Jyoti, अगर आप मेरी आवाज़ सुन पा रही हैं?
जी।
ज्योति, नई पार्लियामेंट बिल्डिंग के बारे में हम बातचीत कर रहे हैं. ये तस्वीर आपके सामने, हमारे दर्शकों के सामने भी है. प्रधानमंत्री खड़े हुए हैं, देख रहे हैं कि किस तरीके से ये एक विस्तार, एक नया अवतार है हमारी पार्लियामेंट का, हमारे सदन का. कुर्सियों पर हम देख पा रहे हैं कि कंप्यूटर स्क्रीन्स लगी हुई हैं और बैठने की जो जगह भी है वो ज़्यादा स्पेशियस है अगर उसकी हम तुलना करें अपने करंट सदन की बिल्डिंग से. आप ये सारी तस्वीरें देख के आपको क्या लगता है कि किस तरीके की सोच गई है इसको बनाने में, इसको कंस्ट्रक्ट करने में?
मैंने जब इसका आर्किटेक्चर देखा था तो मुझे बहुत खूबसूरत लगा, और जैसे कि आपने बताया कि पीकॉक के डिज़ाइन के ऊपर बनाया, तो एक आर्ट तो इसके अंदर बहुत खूबसूरत नज़र आ ही रही है. और जो टेक्नोलॉजी है वो भी इसके अंदर इतनी खूबसूरत तरीके से यूज़ हो रही है और स्पेशियस भी है. तो मैं तो बहुत ही वो करूँगी कि ये भी हमारे जो कहते हैं कि बिल्डिंग्स में नामी उसमें से एक ये होने वाली है, अद्भुत बिल्डिंग में से एक होगी ये हमारी, मतलब धरोहर है हमारे देश की, बनेगी जो अच्छी बनेगी. आपको ये मेरी
जी बिल्कुल आ रही है. Ali,
जी,
your thoughts on this? This is obviously a great deal for our country. Now, let's remember, Ali, that this edifice, this building has been made not keeping in mind the fact that, you know, there have been technological changes ever since we got independence, but there have also been changes related to space. There have been changes related to the expansion of our democratic fabric in the country. There will be more constituencies which will come under play. There will be more representatives from across the country. All of these things have been basically, computed while we were constructing and thinking of what will go inside of this parliament building. The Prime Minister is taking stock of this situation, and as per the technological requirements, all the member of parliament will have computer screens in front of them as well. This is, of course, as we say in colloquial English, going with the flow.
Absolutely, Vineet, and I think it's a very, very welcome step. And it is, one more thing I would like to highlight over here is there has been some politics on this from the opposition, but let me tell you that was bound to happen, and it's a welcome step, and I really welcome this step of this new building being inaugurated. But the very fact is, I would say one thing, Vineet, that, one more thing regarding one controversy, as Mr. Jairam Ramesh has said, that, the Prime Minister is trying to, that's what dictators do, is trying to carry his legacy forward through the building and all. But I will just like to highlight one small thing without taking any sides of any party, without being very, very neutral and a very, very unbiased view. I'll tell you, even when Congress was in power, Vineet, it's not that they did not do the such thing. They also, in fact, there was an RTI query of 2012 which revealed that there were 19 stadiums, 5 airports and ports, 98 educational institutions, 15 national sanctuaries and parks, 39 hospitals and medical institutions, 37 institutions, and that was 74 roads, which were named after three members of the Gandhi family. I mean, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Rajiv Gandhi, Indira Gandhi. So, which is, I mean, that's a thing, is sheer waste of money. Well, don't we have in our office, don't we have a different kind of of a cabin or an office for the MD or the CEO? We do have. I mean, even be it in the army, in the armed force, we have a different office for a very senior officer. It's always there. It's part of it. So I think a building like this, it is, as the panelists before me said, yes, it's a very, very welcome step. There's no doubt about it. And then there were 12 central and 52 state schemes. There were 28 sport tournaments and trophies, 51 awards, 15 fellowships. The previous government, they also did that. But here it is something, see, unless and until you, for example, you want to do something good, unless you are neat and tidy, unless you get things in order, you cannot take planning seriously. You cannot plan things effectively. So it was very much required. And it is, people can say whatever they want. They might say waste of money, whatever. But yes, you have to, it's not an expenditure. I would call it an investment. Because it's going to ultimately lead to a lot of good planning. In fact, there was an RTI query of 2013 which revealed that there were 450 schemes which were once again named after three members of the Gandhi family, which is, so, I mean, every government which is in power does that. So now, because Jairam Ramesh, he is a respected ex-minister, no doubt about it, the very fact that he has said it, now people will see it as politics. Oh, the opposition party is saying this is this, and this is that. अगर इतना ही है, अगर politics ही खेलनी है, prove it in the elections. Go silently work and go and vote. जिसको vote, see, you are free to vote for whoever you want. We have that democratic freedom in our country. Vote for whoever you want. The results speak ultimately. The results speak who is taking action, which leadership is actually doing what. It shows. So most certainly, when a new office is inaugurated like this, a new parliament is inaugurated, it is
right.
A very, very welcome step, and I think we should all join together to welcome it very.
Absolutely. Well said, Major Mohammad Ali Shah. Mr. Sunil Deora is also with us on the broadcast. Mr. Deora, if you can hear me? Okay, Mr. Deora is yet to join us. ज्योति जी, आपके पास वापस आना चाहूँगा मैं. ज्योति जी, अगर इमारतों की बात करी जाए तो आपको क्या लगता है कि जिस तरीके से हमेशा से मुकाबला होता रहा है, कंपैरिजन होता रहा है कि जो ब्रिटिश राज की जो इमारतें हैं वो मजबूत हैं, उनका जो आर्किटेक्चर है वो एक ऐसे तरीके का है जो हमारे देश की लेगेसी को भी मेंटेन करता है, उससे हमें अलग नहीं हटना चाहिए. तो आपको क्या लगता है कि ये एक पहला कदम है कि भारत अपने आर्किटेक्चर पर फोकस कर रहा है, अपने कल्चर को आइडेंटिफाई करके अपनी इमारतों में ला रहा है?
हाँ, बिल्कुल सही बात है कि हम लोग कहते हैं कि जो ब्रिटिश राज के टाइम पे जो आर्किटेक्चर था उसकी ब्यूटी अलग थी और मजबूती भी, तो हम कहते हैं वो है ही, वो एक हमारे लिए अलग बात है. लेकिन हाँ, आज नए वक्त के साथ में हमें अपना आर्किटेक्चर भी लाना चाहिए और अपनी भी एक मिसाल देनी ही चाहिए, और ये बहुत अच्छी बात है. मैं तो इसको बहुत मानती हूँ कि हमारे जो खुद का आर्किटेक्चर है वो नया आ रहा है, उसमें नयापन है, तो उसमें कोई बुराई नहीं है, आना ही चाहिए.
All right, Mr. Sunil Deora is finally with us. Mr. Sunil Deora, I hope you can hear me, sir.
हाँ.
Mr. Deora.
हाँ. You can speak me Hindi.
सर, हमसे बातचीत करने के लिए आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
आपकी आवाज़ आ रही है.
सर, नई पार्लियामेंट की तस्वीरें आई हैं, प्रधानमंत्री मुआयना कर रहे हैं, दिखा रहे हैं हमें कि नई पार्लियामेंट में क्या क्या देखने को मिलेगा. आपके अनुसार इस नए सदन की इमारत की सबसे अद्भुत कड़ी और चीज़ क्या है?
नहीं, मुझे ये नया पार्लियामेंट जो बिल्डिंग मैंने देखा है, जिसका आर्किटेक्चरल देखा है, ये मुझे बहुत अद्भुत लगता है. अपने आप में एक परिपूर्ण ऐसी वास्तु है और मुझे ये बहुत अभिमानास्पद लगता है कि इसका जो एम्ब्लेम का शिल्प मैंने बनाया है.
जी सर, हम उस बात से वाकिफ़ हैं सर. सर, आपको क्या लगता है कि इस नई इमारत के जो सबसे अहम पहलू हैं वो क्या होंगे? ये लोग बात करते हैं इंडियननेस की, हमारी बिल्डिंग्स में, हमारी इमारतों में इंडियननेस होनी चाहिए. आपको लगता है कि ये नई इमारत इन सारी अपेक्षाओं से घिरी हुई है?
नहीं, जहाँ तक मैंने देखा है इसमें मॉडर्न और ट्रेडिशन का अच्छा कॉम्बो लगता है मुझे। इसमें जो कलर इसमें जो स्टोन लिया गया है, रेड आगरा स्टोन है, बाद में धौलपुरी स्टोन है, उसमें कुछ आर्किटेक्चरल उसके आर्चेस वगैरह भी इंडियन टच है। तो ये परफेक्ट मॉडर्न और इंडियन ट्रेडिशन का कॉम्बो ऐसे सोच के ये बिल्डिंग बनाया है, ऐसा मेरा कहना है।
Ji. Ali, coming back to you. Well, the old Parliament building, as we are getting to know, is going to be turning into a museum. But even if you look at the new design, Ali, and we are showing it to our viewers as well, there's a separate visitors gallery that has been constructed so that people who want to understand where the action goes on can do so physically by visiting these particular galleries and looking at the action, or perhaps looking at it at a point in time where the action or the sessions are not on. So all in all, Ali, this is perhaps a building which is not only reflecting India's growth strategy, it is also reflecting India's inclusiveness in terms of how people should be familiarized with how democracy functions.
Absolutely. See, in a democracy, again, as you said, it's for the people, by the people, to the people, and it is meant for the people only elect and people only decide. So now, again, coming back to reiterating my previous point, because Jairam Ramesh, the political leader, the Congress leader had made a statement, becomes political. Rather, I would have appreciated if Twitterati, I would have taken that probably a bit more seriously. Twitterati or social media or a person or a people or awam or the public or janta would have said that, no, it's a sheer waste of money. While I've just said, it is the very fact that any government, tell me one thing. Who would be happy with any boss, any policy, even a company in the HR comes out with a policy, and there will be people who will be cribbing, oh, leave policy, oh, what they have done is they have taken work from home, or they have taken this policy has been, there'll be a crib, there'll be grouse always, every time with the people, the policy makers. That is inevitable. One can't really change that. Now the very fact is, when we have, like, India has taken the lead somewhere in the international community. When we have people from international community keeping a close eye on India and they're seeing a different building, I think it really reflects very well. Why do we dress up? Why do we clean our cars in the morning? Why do we keep our houses tidy? Why do we build good buildings? Because we want to keep that image, right? Everybody would want to keep. Otherwise, go and live in a slum. If that is a problem, go and wear dirty clothes, be unhygienic. The very fact, अगर हमें सही सोचना है, हमारा ख्याल, हमारी सोच यहाँ से आएगी ना, we have to think well, we have to function well, and you cannot function well when the basics are not in order. So I think it's a very, very welcome step, and I'm very happy that they have taken this step.
Right, and he also a couple of times alluded to what Jairam Ramesh said, but the fact of the matter is that any government that comes in is going to look at the country and its legacy and its cultural heritage with its own lens. Do you think that what we are seeing in this parliament is perhaps the reflection that this government sees?
Oh, well, I would say yes, in a way. See, any government, whichever is on the helm, irrespective whether whichever party it is, the ruling government of the day, would always have the best interest of the country. Everywhere. I mean, you look at the protests that happened in France because of Mr. Cameron's because of Mr. Emmanuel's policy of the pension plan, the new pension plan. You took a look at everywhere. But what I would attribute it ultimately is a communication thing. When there is good communication between the parties, between people who are, it always is a bridge, actually. So the channel of communication should be open between the government and the people. So any opposition ka kaam hai na, to oppose at the end of the day, whether you do good work or bad work. But as Shashi Tharoor also rightly, he's from the Congress, he has said once that if you oppose something good just for the sake of opposing it, then you lose credibility there. So अगर कुछ काम करना है, उसी पे आपको oppose करना है, then you're losing credibility, I'm sorry to say. But if you oppose something reasonably, if you protest peacefully, in a non-violent manner, without giving any hate speeches, without going on rampage, without being violent, without being... So then I think it is, and I've always been, I've said that protesting is a fundamental and democratic right, and it's always yes. It's very important not to be a yes man all the time. One should put forward your point, but one should not politicize any matter. And I think, and as I said, I am very happy to see the new parliament building.
राइट ज्योति जी, आपके पास वापस आना चाहूँगा मैं। विपक्ष की तरफ से भी और कुछ ऐसे लोग भी हैं जो समझते हैं कि एक जो भारत की जो लेगेसी है उससे छेड़छाड़ नहीं करनी चाहिए, पर आर्किटेक्चर एक ऐसी चीज़ है, इमारतें एक ऐसी चीज़ हैं जो नए शासन के साथ साथ नई सरकारों के साथ बदलते ही बदलते हैं।
जी बिल्कुल। मैं भी, क्योंकि मैं आर्टिस्ट हूँ, तो मैं आर्टिस्ट के नज़रिए से बताती हूँ कि हम लोग जब भी पुरानी बिल्डिंग जो हमारी आर्किटेक्चर है उनको देख के, हर आर्टिस्ट है या हम लोग अपनी पुरानी एक तो यादों में उस मोमेंट में पहुंच जाते हैं, तो हम चाहते हैं कि वो संजोई रहे। लेकिन वक्त के साथ में बदलना भी बहुत ज़रूरी होता है, तो उसमें नई चीज़ें आती हैं तभी उसको संभाला भी जा सकता है। तो मेरे इसमें मतलब मैं एज एन आर्टिस्ट की नज़र से ही मैं बात कर सकती हूँ। बस ये कह सकती हूँ कि हाँ, ये जो नई चीज़ हो रही है वो भी हमें अच्छी लग रही है, लेकिन पुराना जो हमारी जो इमारतें हैं वो भी हमें चाहिए, वो भी हम चाहते हैं कि उसको भी संजो के रखा जाए। जी
Right, Rajalakshmi Joshi, political analyst, also joining us on the program. Rajalakshmi, you were with me a little while ago when we spoke about the comments. Rajalakshmi, can you hear me?
Yes, Vineet, I can hear you.
Rajalakshmi, can you hear me? I can
Yes,
hear a lot of background noise from wherever you are.
Yeah, yes, I'm so sorry about that, Vineet.
Rajalakshmi, do you think that the new parliament building, you know, we've been talking about it, how the Prime Minister made a surprise visit, and it's embedded, you know, with the legacy and the cultural significance of what India has been all about. And that is also something that the opposition perhaps needs to consider, that all the buildings that, you know, are from the colonial era may be dear to us for one reason or another, but the new ones have to reflect the Naya Bharat.
Absolutely, Vineet. And you know, these buildings are so outdated. You can imagine that some of these buildings are, you know, they're almost more than 75 years old. Obviously, they're almost 100 years old. Most of these buildings, most of these government buildings. And you know, now in recent times, all our latest buildings are built keeping in concerns all the environmental issues. You know, you have this concept of green buildings nowadays. And anybody who has visited the parliament, they are quite, you know, they will be aware that apart from the seating, you know, crunch there, apart from that, you also have this issue where, you know, there have been a lot of structural changes, like a couple of stories have been added, 2 floors have been added to the old building. So because of which there had to be some changes in the kind of windows, you know, there were some jalis added, there were a lot of structural aspects that were changed. So, you know, you can't actually have proper ducting, you can't have proper plumbing and sanitation with the old kind of buildings. There's a limitation to how many changes you can make with all of that. So that actually, you know, there are a lot of constraints. So there are a lot of heritage buildings. Very frankly, you know, conserving them is a huge task. Conserving old buildings is a huge task. So I don't think that we need to be getting into this argument of whether the new building is required or not. See, you know that after 2026, the whole parliament will be delimited. So now the number of parliamentarians will be increased. So that seating is already a crunch. Even now today, if you have both houses of parliament having to be seated, then it is always a crunch. So this new, you have seen the pics. So the Lok Sabha will have 3 times the size. So, you know, just imagine, and that also, you have seen the pics, then the kind of facilities in terms of, you know, the infrastructure, the kind of, you know, the audio visuals, all those kind of things, you know, that actually will make a big difference in the efficiency of how the parliamentarians will function. So that actually, you know, I think that will add to the functioning of the parliament itself. So I think that, this was a much needed move, and even the Congress also, even Mr. Jairam Ramesh himself has stated in the past that, this was the need of the day. And today, suddenly they are finding reasons out of nowhere. And I think that, they are just creating issues. So this, I think, was a much needed step, the new parliament building. And so, that is, I think that, and we are getting a very fine structure. If, the kind of photos that I see, it fills my heart with pride, Vinny. So I think that anybody who raises objection about this, I think they're just creating issues out of nothing, Vinny.
Okay, Mr. Utpal Kaul, historian, also joins us on the program. Mr. Kaul, good evening, sir. Thank you for speaking with NewsX. I hope you can hear me.
Yes,
Mr. Kaul,
thank you very
Mr.
much
Kaul,
for inviting me for this
okay,
very
okay.
important.
So just hold on, So let me at least ask you a question, sir. I know you're excited to speak here, which I appreciate. But the question is, in your opinion, what is the significance of this new building? What do you think it changes for India's democracy? What does it promises? What does it promise the Indian voter? And what do you also make of some of the admonishment, the rebuke, the criticism that has come the Prime Minister's way for spending money on this new parliament? Jairam Ramesh went on to say that this is an exercise in vain.
Let me take 1 minute to go in the history.
You can take two.
Basically, India's capital during British time started from Calcutta, in Kolkata. And then it was moved to New Delhi. And I think I have earlier also talked to you about that they saw that they will make the New Delhi from Malcha Marg and start the Rashtrapati Bhavan there. And then this, what we call now the Parliament House. But it is a nearly 120 year building. At that time, the requirements of British were different. Totally, it was not for the 1,400,000,000 people. At that point of time, India's population was not more than 200 million. So now India has grown big. And what is Parliament? Parliament is temple of democracy. So we needed really new building, we needed a new structure, and we needed seating capacity also. Because it was our members are 550 and 250. But here, maybe with the new delimitation and new requirements, maybe we will have to increase some number of seats in the Lok Sabha. There's a lot of discussion on that. So, and this building, this earlier, this our parliament, it was not air conditioned. Now everywhere, every building, every apartment in India is new structures coming with AC and with lot of other facilities. And the most important, which the Prime Minister also discussed, was security. And so all these things are in shape, and it was very heartening, it was very emotional moment that Prime Minister took 1.5 hour time and gave a surprise visit, because he is so much conscious about this temple of democracy, so that this will remain for future. And I think its age will be nearly 150 to 200 years or more than 200 years. So this new parliament is a welcome step. We congratulate the government and especially the Prime Minister of India for thinking like that. Although this project was there for last 25 years, different governments thought about it, but nobody came forward to start one, which Prime Minister Narendra Modi did. Yes, now some opposition leaders, they have this habit of opposing everything. And I think we should hear, when it is question of Indian Parliament, all the government party, that means ruling party, opposition parties, and all parliament members should come forward, and whole nation must support this, because from here, whole of Indian people will see how this Indian democracy will flourish. And that is what I earlier say, the temple of democracy. And I again congratulate government for taking this great step. And I think it may, within 6 months, it will be totally ready.
All right,
Thank
let's listen into what the people have to say about the new Parliament building.
Just visited the new Indian Parliament building. It is recently constructed and it is completely centrally digitalized. We are very proud, obviously, and I've seen photos on the internet and it is extremely beautiful. All the tables for the MPs, for the member of the parliaments, they are centrally digitalized.
It was the old Parliament building was built in the 1900s by the British. So you need to have, with time, you need to change yourself. You need to upgrade ourselves. So a new building with new thoughts, new architectures, which will be a representation of new idea, it's obviously a thing to appreciate.
We are extremely happy that we Indians are going to have our own Parliament House after years of wait. And I have also heard that the new Parliament has earthquake-resistant technique, which is commendable. We are moving towards higher technology in terms of infrastructure.
जो भी अभी प्रधानमंत्री बनाया अपन को, जो भी पार्लियामेंट, वो अभी नॉर्मल पब्लिक जा सकता। हर एक पार्लियामेंट मेंबर का रूम है, सब टेक्नोलॉजी से बना हुआ, बहुत अच्छा है। ऐसा प्रधानमंत्री अपन चाहिए, ऐसा टेक्नोलॉजी भी रहना चाहिए बोल के हर आदमी अपन को सपोर्ट करना, और प्रोजेक्ट्स ऐसा बहुत आना चाहिए इंडिया, और आगे जाना ज़रूरी है।
पार्लियामेंट जो बना रहे वो पुराना पार्लियामेंट जो है 100 साल की अंग्रेजी बनाए सो है, अब नया टेक्नोलॉजी, नया गैलरी वाली सब बनाए सो है। हर मेंबर, पार्लियामेंट मेंबर को एक एक कैबिनेट बना के बहुत अच्छे, बहुत बड़ा गैलरी बनाया, और आम पब्लिक भी जाके बैठ सकते।
वो अगर पार्लियामेंट हाल वो या नो पार्लियामेंट बनान काफ़ी ज़्यादा फ़र्क। अगर वो नो पार्लियामेंट बनान तथ मन सीटिंग कैपेसिटी तम हुर्रम। दोम चीज़ मिनिस्ट्रल ऑफिस तम अत बना, यानी कि मिनिस्टर्स तिमन इन अथ पार्लियामेंटस में ऑफिस दिन।
प्रोन पार्लियामेंट वो नो बनोक, मे बासान मे वो सोशल मीडिया पे कि नो पार्लियामेंट खूबसूरत तमो बनोमुत। नंबर अख अत वो मे कलिन यूज करना अत यह गोडनिच लटि आमुत कुछ पार्लियामेंटस मज कलिन यूज कर कल्चर। बाकी मुल्कन हिंद हेरिटेज तम आम यूज कर।
நியூ பார்லிமெண்ட்கான ரீசன் என்ன அப்படின்னு பல பேர்கிட்ட கேள்வி எழுந்திருக்கு. உண்மையாக சொல்லணும் அப்படின்னா நம்ம நாட்டோட பெருமை அது பார்லிமெண்ட் அப்படின்ற ஒரு விஷயம். நியூ டெல்லியில் எக்ஸிஸ்டிங்காக இருக்கிற ஒரு பழைய பார்லிமெண்ட்டுக்கு பக்கத்துலேயே ஒரு புது பார்லிமெண்ட்டுக்கான கட்டடத்தை உருவாக்குறாங்க. பட் எதனால் இப்போ தேவை அப்படின்னு கேட்கறதுக்கான விடை என்னென்னா, ஆல்மோஸ்ட் 95 வருஷம் ஆச்சுங்க. 2023 இருக்கும். 95 வருஷத்துக்கு மேலே ஆச்சு அதை கட்டி. அதுக்கான பராமரிப்பு எப்படி இருக்குது? ரொம்ப பயங்கரமான ஒரு பேட் சிச்சுவேஷன். ஸோ இருக்கிற ஒரு ஏசியாக இருக்கட்டும், ஒரு எலக்ட்ரிக்கல் உள்ளே இருக்கிற எக்யூப்மெண்ட்ஸாக இருக்கட்டும், எல்லாமே அதுக்கான என்ன தான் நம்ம ரிப்பேர் பண்ணாலும் அதுக்கான ஒரு மாடிஃபிकेशंस தேவைப்படுது.
और छोटे बड़े और रामनौली की आवश्यकता में पहले देखते बहुत ही आवश्यकता थी कि नया संसद भवन बनाया जाए। देश का प्रधानमंत्री बहुत ही विस्तृत सोच रहा आदमी है और बहुत दूरगामी सोचे। वह सोच के कारण एक नया संसद भवन बने, कागजियाँ वाले निरीक्षण भी करे। मैं समझो एक बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धि देश के इतिहास में हुई है कि संसद भवन जी को बहुत आधुनिक तरीके से हर तरह की सुविधा और दोनों सदन बैठक वगैरह में हो सके। बहुत ही बढ़िया, शानदार, जोरदार, जिके अपनी भाषा में सांगोपांग कह सकें, सांगोपांग भवन बने हैं। मैं ये वास्तव देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी ने बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और बधाई दूँ कि सोच रहे एक नई संसद भवन बन गया।
लोकसभा भवन तो पहलू रलक है, लेकिन वो अंग्रेजन के बनावल रलक है, गुलामी के दस्ताव से झलकत रलक है। आज देश के प्रधानमंत्री माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी के द्वारा एकर निर्माण करावल जा रहल बा, बहुत खुशी हो रहल बा।
नया शुरुआत हो रहल बा फिर से, नया सेंट्रल विस्टा के बनला से। वही जो संसद भवन बा वो अंग्रेजन के बनावल हा, ब्रिटिश काल के हा। अब जो नया सेंट्रल विस्टा बनी ओकरा में भारतीय संस्कृति, भारतीय स्थापत्य शैली के मजबूत संगम रगल हो।
All right, you've heard the reactions from people on what they think about the new parliament. Mohammad Ali Shah, Empire Media panelist, still with us on the program. Ali, you've heard what Mr. Kaul also had to say, that this is not only about a new building. It is not only about which government did what, but it is also about the seat of the government. It is also about the democratic principle of expansion. We have a growing population, we have a nurturing population, and in order to meet the requirements, more granular is the way forward for any government.
Absolutely, Vineet, 100%, and that is the way forward. And unless and until you expand your internally about accommodating your own team, how will you how would you accommodate anybody else from outside? You can't. So it's not possible. So yes, I totally concur with all the panelists over here, and I'm glad we are all on the same page. And yes, most certainly it made a lot of sense, and it is something which is to be looked forward to. And we are look at the way India is moving forward, Vineet. Right now, at this point of time, as we speak right now, India is not only growing politically, democratically, economically, culturally. We've just won Oscars. Just yesterday, I was with Guneet Monga, who won the Oscar for a film. I mean, I was with her yesterday. We have won. We have led the G20 summit. We had the Rajasthan dialogue recently this month only. We've had the NSA's SEO meeting. We sent our troops. When I say troops, I don't mean the army only, the NDRF, the National Disaster Management Force, and we sent them to Turkey, we sent them to Syria, we did Operation Ganga very successfully in Ukraine, where we got over 29,000 students back to India who were stuck in Ukraine when 15th August 2021, when the Afghanistan crisis was on in Taliban. The Taliban took over the presidential palace, and the government, we had sent our flights from here to rescue people from there, not just Afghan nationals, not just Indian nationals, but from every nationality, where we always say that the world is one family. We always believe in the unity, the very fact, the way we are growing forward beneath, and everyone is keeping an eye on us. Last year, 2022, in the end of, in April.
That's a good point
March,
you make, Ali.
April,
That's a
May.
good point you make, that everybody's keeping an eye on us. Go on.
And last year, we had the maximum diplomatic visits the world would have ever seen of any country ever. We had global leaders, we had state leaders, we had country heads who were coming here. So yes, the very fact when they come here, it's an impression when they go back. Earlier, there was a time when, I will quickly conclude by saying, there was a time when people would say, I've come to India, I want to see bullock carts, I want to see villagers, I want to see hungry people, I want to see poor people, I want to see starving people. But now the time has changed. Now when they come here, they see the malls in Gurgaon, they see the buildings in Noida, they see the commercial capital in Mumbai, first thing they go to Agra, the foreigners, and look at the impression they carry back home. So the very fact that the change starts from within, change starts from here, and I believe the society will not change unless and until we change our own selves. So the people who are trying to politicize it and trying to give it a different color, they should first do apne grivan mein jaake dekho. That is why I initially gave out the data. I said, okay, if that is the case, then what about this? What about that? I gave out everything in a very, very judicial format, Vineet.
Right. Mr. Diore is also with us on the program. Diore Saab, if you can hear me. Mr. Diore, if you can hear me.
हाँ सुन रहा हूँ.
सर देश भर में बहुत सारी इमारतें हैं.
आवाज़ आ रही है आपके.
सर देश भर में बहुत सारी इमारतें हैं जो हमारी कॉलोनियल लेगेसी की सौगात हैं. आपको लगता है कि उनका एक जो फंक्शन है, उनका एक जो रोल है, वो कहीं ना कहीं आगे जाके समाप्त होने वाला है, और भारतीय संस्कृति के हिसाब से हमारी इमारतों को अब बनाना चाहिए?
नहीं, एक ठीक तरह से देखा जाए तो एज एन आर्टिस्ट मैं सोचता हूँ कि ऐसे वास्तु होने चाहिए फ्यूचर में भी, और जिसमें अपना ट्रेडिशनल फ्लेवर भी उसमें रहेगा और मॉडर्नाइजेशन भी, जो इस वास्तु में मुझे नज़र आया. और जो 100 साल पहले जो ब्रिटिश लोगों ने बनाया था, उसमें उन्होंने यही कोशिश की थी कि थोड़ा अपना ट्रेडिशनल टच लेके भी, और डोम वगैरह ऐसा ये कॉम्बो करके उन्होंने बनाया था. लेकिन ये बिल्डिंग मैंने देखा तो ये अपडेटेड है, ऐसा मुझे लगता है, और फ्यूचरिस्टिक बिल्डिंग है जो आज ज़माने के साथ हमें चलना चाहिए. वो सब इस बिल्डिंग में, और इसमें एज एन आर्ट वर्क मैंने देखा, जैसे पीकॉक जो हमारा नेशनल ये है, उसका उन्होंने अच्छी तरह से खूबी से उसका डिज़ाइनिंग में यूज़ किया है। अशोक चक्र का है, और बाद में कलर स्कीम जो है वो जो दिल्ली का कलर कोड है उस हिसाब से उन्होंने रखा है। तो भले ही इसका शेप इसका अपडेट के हिसाब से बनाया, लेकिन इसमें जो इंडियन फ्रेग्रेंस जो हमारा है ट्रेडिशन का, ये उसमें मुझे नज़र आता है।
All right, Rajalakshmi Joshi, coming back to you. Rajalakshmi, if you can hear me.
Yes, Vineet. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Do you concur with the assessment that I've made? You know that there are colonial relics across the country. Do you think all of them will run out of their role, or of what we call their importance, and sooner than later, the Indian part of our infrastructure will have to come forth in more ways than one?
Yes, absolutely, Vineet. That is, you have completely nailed it. We have a lot of heritage structures, like I was telling you, but we can best use them as museums, as maybe renovate them and use them as museums. That is all I think. But for Parliament to be functioning efficiently, or for any structure to be functioning efficiently, you need in recent times you have a lot of latest technologies. You have like if you have seen the pictures, every parliamentarian will have they will have these their desks. They will have the computer systems. So what happens there is they can have the entire information on their screen. Like for example, I think that PM Modi ji is a very visionary PM. If you have seen that, we were speaking about Gati Shakti some days back. I want to mention that because just like how all those ministries, 16 ministries will have all the information at their fingertips. Similarly, all these parliamentarians, they can perform more efficiently when they have a lot of information just in front of them, and that is the kind of efficiency that is expected in the.
Okay, we've lost Rajalakshmi Joshi. We'll try and reconnect with her momentarily. Mr. Kaul, I'll come back to you, if you can hear me, sir.
Yes, definitely.
Mr. Kaul, in fact, I want to extend the same assessment that I made earlier on. Do you think that, our legacy has perhaps been, in the shadows for a long time, and it is about time that somebody shines a light on it?
I have to say something here that if we make little bit of historical research of British time, what they have constructed here, it is with some intention. They made this what we call as Viceroy's house. That was for just to enjoy the Viceroy's big, huge building, which is bigger than the Buckingham Palace. But I always say, when I have to say about the British, what they did in India, it was Indian money, Indian taxpayers' hard-earned money. It was Indian material, it was Indian labor which worked, but it was British mind, and they wanted to impose their colonial architecture, what I say, or their ideas. And see the gateway of India, see the India Gate, see the Parliament House, or when they built the New Delhi, they thought they will have to rule India for ages together. So for their officers and for the British officers and the British Army, New Delhi will be a very, very nice place to just enjoy. They didn't have the Indians in their mind. So having said that, now is the time that India arises and Indian democracy flourishes, and now we can say and we can do justice to our own cultural heritage. We will do justice, and our architecture, what we call as Indian architecture, whether it is South Indian architecture or whether it is North Indian architecture, we have beautiful buildings made in ancient times, beautiful buildings made in medieval times. So we can use our own mind and make according to our own cultural heritage, but at the same time with the modern idea. As whole building will be computerized, it will be digitalized, it has high security, and now more seats, what I can say, more accommodation is there. And earlier in our the present Parliament House, there were few rooms for our ministers and for the leader of opposition. We can say that male leaders had their own room there. But here, lot of Parliament members and all parties will have sufficient accommodation. There are meeting halls now. It is not only for the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha and big hall. There will be lot many other conference rooms. I think time will come that even there can be not a debate for there can be a place where the common people can organize some programs. There are some accommodations. I think in future that is going to happen, so that the democracy really flourishes.
Right.
Thank you.
Rajalakshmi Joshi is back with us. Rajalakshmi Joshi. Rajalakshmi, are you there with us? Okay, seems to be a network issue with Rajalakshmi Joshi. Ali, coming back to you, how do you respond to what Mr. Kaul said? That it's not only about where India is coming from; it is also about correcting a lot of wrongs from the past. That this particular direction that the government has adopted is essential.
Well, I would say whatever has happened in the past, one should just move on. One shouldn't look back at all. That is my take. And one should just look forward. And the more we look behind and see aisa hua, whatever. History, yes, it's important to learn history. It's important to know history. But when we constantly live in the past, I'll give a small example. Like, if something bad had happened to me in the past, and if I keep thinking of that and keep remembering that, I would be traumatized. I would live in the trauma. I would not be able to grow out of it and do better. And that will stop me behind. So I have to now just not look behind. I should know, yes, I should be aware that such a thing did happen to me. Like, I'll give a small example about, say, stress. We take stress. And it's very important that nowadays, young people, I'll just deviate for 30 seconds from the matter. And then I will tell you why I'm deviating as well. When we take stress, we say a lot of youngsters today are suffering with heart attacks. And because they take stress, we should not take stress. But I think it's an integral part of our life to take stress. For example, if you're walking on the road and if a DTC bus comes on you and you cannot say, oh, I will not move out from here, ki farak panda hai, I will see what will happen. So you have to take a certain amount of stress. On the contrary, if you imagine the bus coming at you, there's no bus coming, that is stress. So similarly, now whatever the past, the baggage that we are carrying, we just leave it, dump it behind. Move forward and look for a better tomorrow, Vineet. That's what I would say.
Great points, Ali. Very articulate, very straightforward. We also happen to speak with BJP leader, Mr. Manoj Tiwari. We're going to play out that conversation we just had. Listen in.
बिल्कुल हमारे साथ बीजेपी सांसद मनोज तिवारी जी हैं, इनसे बात कर लेते हैं। मनोज भाई, जिस हिसाब से अब नई सदन की बात करें, पार्लियामेंट, नई पार्लियामेंट बनकर तैयार हो गई। मोदी जी ने कल सरप्राइज विजिट किया, तमाम मजदूरों से मुलाकात की, बातचीत की और तमाम डिजाइनों को देखा। खासकर जो अंदर चेयर बनी हुई है अलग अलग रंग के, खासकर गेरुए रंग के भी चेयर है, तमाम देखा अशोक चक्र का निशान भी था। आप जब देखे पिक्चर, कैसा लगा आपको अनुभव?
तिरंगा है तो ये रंग समाहित हो जाते हैं, लेकिन रंगों से ज़्यादा ध्यान जाना चाहिए जो हमारे इस समय इंडिया न्यूज़ के दर्शक देख रहे हैं कि हर टेबल के ऊपर, हर कुर्सी सोफ़ा है, उसके सामने कंप्यूटर है, अत्याधुनिक कंप्यूटर है। और जिसको भी बोलना है, जानकारी लेना है, वाईफाई से युक्त है, सब कुछ तुरंत अपनी जानकारी लेने के लिए जा सकते हैं। तो ऐसी व्यवस्था पहले नहीं सोची गई। शायद जब कहते हैं ना कि जब हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी जनता के प्रति बनती है तो फिर बातें आती हैं कि हमारी हर बात सटीक जाए, कोई फेक न्यूज़ न फैलाए। और अब फेक न्यूज़ फैलाने वालों को सांसद अपनी सीट से बैठा बैठा भी जवाब दे सकता है।
जो पुरानी सांसद है और नई सांसद कैसे लग रही है, डिफरेंसेस क्या होने वाला है, और ये कब तक आप लोग अब सीट पे बैठते नजर आएंगे?
मुझे लगता है कि इसी 2023 में ही वहाँ पे सांसद बैठ जाएंगे। और ये नरेंद्र मोदी जी का विजन है। मोदी जी एक एक स्टेप स्वयं देख रहे हैं। मजदूरों का सम्मान तो खैर इस देश में आप सबके सामने है कि जो भी मजदूर जो कंस्ट्रक्शन करता है वो मोदी जी के लिए बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है और हम सभी को इसको पालन करना चाहिए। लेकिन जो ये नई संसद बन रही है, ये मात्र नई संसद नहीं है बल्कि दुनिया के लिए हम एक नज़ीर भी दे रहे हैं कि भारत अब ऐसे सोचता है, भारत अब ऐसे चलता है, भारत अब इस तरह से अपनी बातों को आगे बढ़ाता है।
कैसे अशोक स्तंभ जो आपने देखा, शेर जो बने हुए हैं, अद्भुत डिजाइन, कई बार चर्चा में रहा, तो लगता नहीं है कि अब किस हिसाब से और आधुनिकीकरण हो रहा है और कैसा दिखाई देगा?
हाँ, ये सारी आधुनिकता और सब कुछ के बीच भी जहाँ लोकसभा स्पीकर महोदय बैठने वाले हैं, उनके पीछे का आप देखेंगे तो वो जो हिस्सा है ना, वो पहले वाले की तरह है। तो ये प्राचीनता और आधुनिकता दोनों का एक सुंदर सा समन्वय है। और नो डाउट जब ये नई संसद बन
All right, Mr. Sunil Deore is still with us on the program. Deore जी, अगर आप मेरी आवाज़ सुन पा रहे हैं?
हाँ, सुन रहा हूँ।
मनोज तिवारी ने एक बड़ी अच्छी बात बोली, कहा कि आगे का जो रास्ता है वो प्राचीनता और आधुनिकता का एक मिश्रण है और उसी एक डायरेक्शन में हमें जाना है।
राइट। ये प्राचीनता और आधुनिकता का जो संगम होकर वास्तुकार ने ये जो प्रेजेंट किया है ना, ये एज एन आर्टिस्ट मुझे पूछोगे तो मेरे इससे भी ये मेरे विजन से भी ये मुझे बहुत भाया है। और आने वाले फ्यूचर में इसी तरह से वास्तुकला का संगम होना चाहिए, जिसमें अपना मैंने तो कहा है, जिसमें इंडियन टच भी हो और आधुनिकता भी हो और धीरे धीरे ऐसे ही वास्तुकार भी एक सोच के ही कुछ बनाता है। तो ये संगम मुझे भी अच्छा लगा। मेरे ख्याल से आर्टिस्टिक व्यू से तो बहुत अच्छा है। मैंने उसका पूरा अंदर से भी देखा, सब जब हम काम कर रहे थे तो कॉर्नर टू कॉर्नर सब इंच टू इंच काम अच्छी तरह से सोच के किया गया है।
राइट। ज्योति जी, आप भी हमारे साथ हैं अभी। ज्योति जी
जी बताइए।
आपने भी सुना मनोज तिवारी ने क्या कहा कि एक मॉडर्न आउटलुक और उसके साथ साथ एक प्राचीन टेम्पलेट के साथ भारत आगे बढ़ रहा है। क्या कहना चाहेंगे आप उस पर? प्लीज विस्तार से बताइए।
ये बात तो है ही कि जो पुराना जो वक्त है उसको भी मैंने देखा उसके अंदर की हमारे उसमें पिछले 5000 साल के अंदर जो हुआ वो भी पार्लियामेंट की आर्किटेक्चर के अंदर उसकी स्टोरीज और ये सब चीज़ें भी उसके अंदर ऐड ऑन होने वाली है, हो रही हैं। तो आधुनिक तरीके से आधुनिकता तो बहुत ज़रूरी है हमारे देश के अंदर, क्योंकि आज वक्त के साथ तो चलना ही है और उसके साथ में हमारी पुरानी यादें भी अगर साथ में हर किसी न किसी तरीके से आर्किटेक्ट या मूर्तियों के रूप में या कलाकृतियों के रूप में वहाँ नज़र आ रही है तो बहुत ही अच्छा है और ये ज़रूरी भी है। तो मैं तो इसी उसमें कहती हूँ कि मोदी जी का ये कदम तो हमें मैं तो वैसे ही मोदी जी को बहुत पसंद करती हूँ, और उनके ये कदम पे तो और भी मैं बहुत खुश हूँ कि लाइक जो ये बनने वाला है उसको देखने के लिए मैं तो बहुत अच्छे मन से धन्यवाद भी करती हूँ मोदी जी का।
Mohammad Ali Shah, how important do you think has been the role of the Prime Minister in basically catalyzing this entire change?
Oh, it's been a very, very good, very, very major role. In fact, but no one can deny the fact that he's a good leader. No one can deny that he connects with people, and when there are certain things that a lot of even the opposition cannot. Many of them, I know, they feel that in their heart of hearts, they may not come out in the open and speak about it. But the very fact remains that he's a great leader. He had a very good hand in taking this forward, and I'm sure, as he said, "Sabka saath, sabka vikas, sabka vishwas," or "Sabko saath leke chalenge." I'm sure the nation is in for very, very good times ahead.
Right, Mr. Kaul. So, concluding thoughts from you. We've almost run out of time.
Indian original copy of Indian Constitution. It is full of paintings of our ancient and medieval times. The original copy of our Constitution. So, Modi ji's government is totally committed to modernizing whole of India, Indian society. And so India is fast moving digitally, whether it is in currency, whether it is in banking, or each and every field. And you can see how the 2 vaccines were made, the third is also ready, and so many new inventions, new things are happening.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, we have great cultural heritage, and India is proud of that. And so this is the mixture, this is the combination of great culture, Indian civilization, and the modernism. That is the greatness.
That's a great point,
and
sir.
Future of
and that's a great
Thank you.
point that you have concluded with, and that's the point that is supposed to be remembered when talking about the new India. We've run out of time. We're going to dip into a short break. Be right back.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.